What's going on, guys? Welcome to another Guitareo live lesson. I'm Andrew, and as you can see, I'm here with a very special guest, DJ Temple. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm DJ Temple.
Very nice. Brilliant. Brilliant. So DJ's been here all day, actually, filming a bunch of courses for the Guitareo members area and a few little one-off YouTube videos and stuff, and it's been a lot of fun. Obviously, you can see he's quite the shredder. So the focus has been on sweep picking, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We've been making the joke all day about you like my shred and you should see me make like coleslaw. Just shred.
So good. He's quite the character. It's been fun. It's been a really fun day.
It's always been stupid jokes all day, all day.
And you play in a band called Without Mercy, right?
Yeah, I play in principal songwriter, guitar player, Without Mercy, based out of here in the city of Abbotsford, actually, which is a lot of cool, a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Kind of your tech death or death metal, groove metal. I don't really know what subgenre.
Yeah, no, it's metal, man. There's like 1,000 different genres out there. You just make it up.
We're angry.
That's the gist, I guess, right? So what we're going to talk about today is sweep picking. Sweep picking 101 is, I think, the title of this live lesson as well. And we did a course on sweep picking 101. So we're just going to kind of do a bit of a condensed version of that, a little bit shorter, and just kind of go through some of those. And just so you guys know, there are 3 downloads. So the first download you'll see is the sweep arpeggios that you're going to be using, which is like a 3-string arpeggio and a 5-string arpeggio.
Yeah.
So as he's explaining that, you can follow along with the PDF. And then there is the jam track that you jammed over first. That is available to download. And then we also have the other jam track that you're going to use a little bit later. They can download, and that is actually from one of our members series, Cyborg, which is kind of like Megadeth inspired. So,
ooh.
Yeah, right? Right?
Ooh.
Yeah, I know you like Megadeth.
Not Miney Death, Megadeth.
Anyways, so, and if you do have questions as we go, they don't have to be about sweep picking. It can be about anything. It can be metal related. It can even be about folk. And we'll let DJ try and answer some questions about folk
It could be
guitar.
about the shampoo I use. It's Aussie.
Absolutely.
It's Aussie.
So those of you guys who are members, you can feel free to send those in questions tab below the video player and send those up, and we will answer those a little bit later. But without further ado, do you want to get into some of the teaching portion?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it. I'm messing with these in-ears, so bear with me. Essentially what we got boiled down to is I like to look at arpeggios based on shapes. It's a great way to just get used to playing them and not necessarily worry too much about the notes that are being involved. I understand that the theoretical context, to sound all smart with my monocle, is that you should understand the triads and tritones and minor sevenths and all a bunch of other stuff that just makes you sound pretentious. So let's just play. What I do is I rock the 12 on my pinky finger and the high 8 here. I call it high 8 because I'm on the high E string, killing that on the first finger. These guys hang out. Now this is going to be a 3-string shape to start us off. We're going to go up with a pull off and then an up and an up. Notice I'm going 12, pull off to 8, and then I got a 10 and a 9. 12, 8, 10, 9, 12, 8, 10, 9, 12, 8, 10, 9, 10, 9, 12, 8, 10, 9. Or as the Japanese say, 12, 8, 10, 9, 12, 8, 10, 9. I'm going to call out my pick strokes as I go up, pull off, up, and then down, down. Up, pull off, up, down, down. Up, pull off, up, down, down. I've been saying all morning, I strongly encourage you to call your pick strokes out as you go.
Right.
Up, pull off, up, down, down. Up, pull off, up, down, down. Up, pull off, up, down, down. Take that away, we start to hear the remnants of a shape. And all my right hand is doing is that pick stroke pattern. Up with a pull off, then an up, and a down, down. I have a slight palm mute going on that just happens naturally because my hand's resting here. I don't do too much focus on exactly where the palm mute is. I used to teach it that way forever and it wasn't working out. Just get your hand nice and relaxed, chill it out, have some fun, and the shape's gonna come with time. Little volume sounds like this. That's a 3-string. To make it a 5-string, I'm just going to add 2 notes to it. Up, pull off, up. Again, I'm starting the same location. 12 and 8, pulling it up, 12 up, 12, pull off, up. Here comes the middle finger, kills it on the 10, and then finishing it off on the 12 right there. So up, pull off, up. Up, pull off, up. That makes it the 5-string. Because I'm using 5 strings.
Right.
That's 3 plus 2.
Good
Or
math.
6 minus 1. All morning, people. Little volume sounds like this. big fan of adding this thing I've nicknamed the reach back note. There is a theory term to it, but don't worry about it. We want to get you playing it. I don't want you to read a textbook to someone, right? With the 12 there, I'm going to reach back to this on the 7th fret of the A string as well. So I have 2 notes on that string. There's 2 methods of thought, or 2 schools of thought on this, which is the shifting method, but I'm a big fan of what we call the expansion method. I really want you to work that stretch out. It only benefits you later on for doing all these psycho cool arpeggio runs, which are dope. Mr. Marty Friedman, Jeff Loomis,
Right.
Chris Broderick is a beast. Look him up. See that stretches there? I'm just hanging out. As you go up, pull up, and then that becomes a downstroke. So this guy can either be an upstroke or a hammer on, your choice. I had a teacher years ago tell me to work the alternate pick in there, so kind of became a habit. Here's what it sounds like. Gives us a 5-string and a 3-string with combos.
Yeah.
What?
Very nice.
What?
Yeah. One thing I just wanted to mention is looking at your picking hand.
Yes.
I know a lot of people who are trying to get into sweep picking. When they're trying to isolate, because what you're doing is you're essentially just playing multiple downstrokes in a row instead of playing like downstroke, then going to the next string and playing an upstroke, right?
Right.
That movement is down, down, down for a lot of people, right? There's such large movements. Would you say that when you're trying to get that sweep picking to sound smooth, you really want to minimize those movements? Is that the idea, so that it's one smooth
Good question.
motion?
Good question. So if I understand correctly, it seems like sweeping, which is the right hand, the left hand is doing the arpeggio, so that's irrelevant at this point.
Right.
But this one, you're saying like it's an individual, almost like they're trying to go down, 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 as opposed to one fluid
Correct.
thing.
Yeah.
So my solution is, here's what you do. Do that. Do that. When you strum a chord, I'm not going. So there's a little love lost between that technique and the sweeping action. And it's usually a synchronization problem, right? It's in my experience anyway. Experience anyway. It's been that this hand, you're so focused on, oh my goodness, look at how complicated that is. And then your brain naturally goes, if that's complicated, this must be complicated too.
Okay.
And you get what I've nicknamed the raptor claw. And they kind of like do this situation. Really just get back to basics and do this and hang out. And then one thing we talked about in the video series, plug, is that I want you to grab your guitar neck and just work the left-hand shape, so you don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah.
If they don't think about this and this becomes natural, this is already pretty natural. But I do think there's a little like mental gap to it too, because a lot of people look at it and go, sweeping, I'll never be able to do that. Because the examples you see are like these crazy, again, Chris Broderick sweep arpeggios that are just like, blah.
Yeah.
7-string.
That's exactly what I think about when I hear sweep picking.
Exactly. But there's so many cool applications that are not that. You can apply this to your like rhythm tracks if you really wanted. Here's a really cool thing off the top of my head. An arpeggio that we're talking about is a chord that is played one note at a time. So when someone says they're learning an arpeggio, they're just learning a chord like that. So we've all heard, what's this song? I just played it wrong, but you know where I'm hitting that. That is a classic example of chords arpeggiated.
Right.
Which is the same thing as an arpeggio. Right. So if I understand that, check this out. I take these 3 notes. Now that's an A, C, and an E. Just trust me. We don't need to worry about why or anything. Just trust me that it is. Anytime I play an A, C, and an E, any combination of them, it becomes an arpeggio. So what if I go like... That's the same thing as going... It's exactly the same thing. So I can do like rhythm, like... It's the same notes. And any combination of them I want. And it starts to get really, really cool really quickly.
Well, that automatically, it's like, oh, you could write a song around that riff.
100%.
Right?
100%.
Right.
A lot of people look at sweeping as like a solo context, which is true. It's very sick when you apply it to solo stuff. You can do crazy things with rhythms. I look at solos and leads as different things. That's just how my brain works. Like I think of like a rhythm track is obviously a rhythm track. Then a lead is something that's like still kind of in the rhythm world. I'm just enhancing it.
Okay.
And then a solo is everybody validate me. I'm super important. Put 3 lights. Invite me to a website. I'm going to sit live and blah. With fancy green sweaters. Jealous?
Yeah, I was going to say, you dressed up.
Yeah, you know, hey, wife picks your clothes. That's what happens. Wow. But yeah, that's that to answer that in a long-winded fashion.
No, that was a really good answer.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yay. Justification. Works for you people.
It's very good. Very good. Did you have more stuff like on those arpeggios that you wanted to show specifically?
Oh, buddy, I got oodles, man. I got tons.
Let's get into the oodles.
So let's take one of the biggest things that you want to do is, and I'm going to try my best to continue to say this, do not be intimidated by this concept. Do not be. Take it down piece by piece. If you go through the whole lesson series, you watch this entire live DVD, you're live tweeting Guitareo or emailing them, asking them questions, and all you can do is this. That's a win, because it's more than you could do before you started. So call it a win. Small victories, man. Small victories. To apply this to a musical context, let's take a 3-string here real quick. And I'm going to check out where these 2 dots happen. So the double dot's there. I'm going to jump up to what is 15 and 19. Bam. I got my middle finger in the center. Don't stick that up too far. You might offend people watching you. And exactly the same shape, because this is considered a minor arpeggio because it's based after the A minor chord, or in this example, it's an E minor chord. Just trust me, it is. And now I can jump 2 positions, and it sounds gnarly. And even if I practice that 5-string, same thing up here. And just to clarify, when I say you can do the same thing, if you don't want to go through the process of learning every single note that I'm playing, the fret spacing is exactly the same.
Okay.
That's what I mean by that.
Yeah.
So you can just kind of match the exact same shape and have a lot of fun.
So the shape is identical?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay. It's identical almost anywhere on the neck, and I say almost because I have one guitar teacher that's always like, oh yeah? And he makes up something. I'm like, damn it, Max. Dude. Anyway, so shout out to you, Max. Nonetheless, yeah, it's a great way to just jump shapes. And the cool thing is the backing track you heard me playing over that, it's in the key of A minor. And both of these chords, or arpeggios, which is the A minor one, and then this one, which is the E minor one, you can just do them both at any point throughout that entire backing track. And it sounds really good because they just fit. They have notes that are shared between the 2 chords.
Right.
Which is great. Sweeping is very much like 90% like a technical thing that you're learning, and then the last 10% is a musical application, in my opinion. It's very much subjective at that point. But I think it's the majority of the time you spend, it's learning this new skill set, this new technique. And then once you have it in your back pocket, it's pretty easy to throw it into stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Now, to jump into some of maybe the more musical part of it a little bit more, one of the things we talked about today was inversions.
Yeah, dude.
Did you, and you actually had a really kind of cool visual way of explaining inversions.
Right.
Would you mind maybe going through that a little bit?
Yes, I would mind.
So he's not going to do it for you guys.
Sorry. No, of course. Let's try it out. So if you guys look back on previous lessons with Nate, he was talking about chords and chord structures and 1-3-5s and all this stuff. So typically, a chord is structured by going 1-3-5 or root 3rd and 5th of the scale that matches blah, blah, blah. So I was doing stuff like this. So an inversion is, if we go 1-3-5, it's just any way that I can stack this exact same thing. So again, I have 1-3-5, or I can go 3-5-1, that's another inversion, or I can go 5-1-3, that's the other inversion. When I start 1-3-5, we call that the root.
Yep.
And then this one, where it's 3-5-1, we call that a first, and then a 5-1-3, make sure I get those numbers right, 5-1-3 becomes a second. So in the standard chord of like campfire stuff, anything that's a minor chord, a major chord, you have a 1-3-5.
And they're just repeated.
Exactly.
Yeah, over multiple strings.
Yeah, so you just have a root inversion, a first inversion, and a second inversion. And pretty much every single arpeggio shape you will ever learn is considered to be an inversion.
Right.
And that's just how you learn them.
Right.
If that
So
makes sense.
that first shape that you showed.
Yes.
Is
yes. Well, let's dissect that real quick, because that's where it gets a little bit weird. So we talked about this. This 5-string shape, and it's called a different inversion if I don't have the reach back note in it,
Right.
which is why I've been stressing put the reach back note
Okay.
in it, because it just makes more sense. This actually ends up being my second. So this is the
Okay.
second inversion. Now the other shape I want to show you real quick, I'm going to start here on 12, which is the A note. And again, this is an A minor chord, so the 1, 3, 5 is an A, a C, and an E. That's why I was doing that whole, which is actually really cool. I'm going to steal that idea later when I go home. I'm going to go 12, rock a 15. Then the next string has this finger roll situation, which goes 14, 14. So I'm going to try and over-exaggerate it for you. So where I got the tip, and then I flatten to the pad. You very much want to avoid a chord situation, because this is a chord played one note at a time. So I'm going to go 12, 5, 14, 14, 13, 12, and then an upstroke to get that, killing it on 17. Sounds like this. This is an A minor, starting with the A, so it's called a root inversion.
Right.
Cool?
Makes sense.
Bam. So my favorites are to go seconds to roots. That's my favorite. It's just what I'm super into as a player. I dig it a lot. So it looks something like this. Now, real cool, real quick, is that's me taking the second down here and I'm sliding my hand into it. Your style as a guitar player, you just got to get from here to here. You just got to go from this shape into the other shape. And when I say you just have to do that, you're going to find different ways to do it. I have a friend that taps it and slides and taps and stuff.
Okay.
You throw your guitar pick at it if you really want it. I don't know. A million ways. I used to do this sneaky move where I would go. See that finger switch?
Yeah.
And that was a fluke that time. I got it where you didn't really notice like a pitch change or anything.
Yes.
And then you're set up to just do the other one right away. So you have like. Oh, that was a little sloppy, but you get the idea.
So maybe slow that little finger switch down.
Yeah, straight up. Let's check it.
I appreciate the dramatic effects. It's brilliant.
My parents are proud. Okay, so the other cool thing real quick is this note. It's important to notice that this is only 2 frets away from that E minor I was talking about, which means once you get to this E minor, and if you have 24 frets, the entire process you started over here can be duplicated over here, and all of a sudden you're playing 2 arpeggios in 4 total inversions.
Right.
Sounds really gnarly. I want to show off a little bit. Here we go. Something like that.
Wow.
Which is really cool. And it's the same technique over and over again. You can impress your friends and then, bam, leave your case open, make money.
Hey, I like the great tip. Great
Yes.
tip. So one of the things that I kind of notice as you're going through this, especially again with sweep picking technique, is the importance of muting.
Yes.
So how do you go about that? Because I know, again, some people when they try sweep picking, they go through and all of a sudden, well, every string that I pass over is now ringing out. It's whether it's as I remove these fingers from the strings or maybe I'm not perfectly synced up or what.
Yeah.
How would you go about muting?
Any kind of extra strings ringing is almost always a synchronization issue.
Okay.
Almost always. So again, go back to working the shape with one hand and then go back to just working this one. You can just like totally left hand mute everything this way. The other thing is that as I cross strings, specifically when I'm ascending patterns, if your palm mute is in the right spot when you start, which every guitar has a sweet spot, I really wish I could tell you 45 degrees with your elbow squeezed in and this guitar slightly with the bridge and then a 90-degree angle with the sun over the moon of Saturn. There's no magical way to tell people exactly where the palm mute is. You'll find it on the sweet spot. And what happens is as your technique develops, your palm mute naturally, gradually goes with it.
Okay.
Don't think too much. Just go, oh, hey, that string rang. I should maybe adjust my hand. it's a playing game. This is so much forgive the term, but like a diverse, deep well of a technique that it's super intimidating off the bat, and I strongly don't want you to get intimidated. Like, I strongly stress that so much. Just jump in and have fun. Totally have fun with it and keep playing it. It's one of the techniques that requires some of the most dedicated time, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's up there. Standard picking stuff like downstrokes and alternate picks, that takes a bit. And then you have sweep picking, and then there's economy picking. Yeah. God forbid you jump into like hybrid picking and fingerstyle.
I did a lesson on that last week.
Oh, buddy, like picking alone, this darn right hand can ruin your day. But just take the time. Allow this to naturally progress. Don't push the issue.
Right.
I often get asked by my students about like, how do I get faster? Just chill.
Yeah.
Keep working it. You get faster when you get more relaxed. I know it seems counterintuitive, right?
Counterintuitive.
Intuitive. Thank you. He's helping me. It's like my Siri right here. It's my own Siri.
Okay.
It's your speed naturally develops as you relax more and as you get more confident in the move. And it just keeps coming down to do that synchronization, man. Seriously, just keep it up.
Okay.
And Bob's your uncle.
It seems like a lot of obviously muscle memories involved. So it's not one of those things where it's like someone who, let's say, is a very advanced, good guitar player could just pick it up and just learn sweep picking and be really fast immediately. It seems like something you have to work towards and like spend time every single day developing just the technique alone.
It's very much like that too. We were talking earlier about martial arts stuff. We're both super big fans of it and both train. This guy's cool. The big thing is guitar players struggle with repetitive motions in extremities, I believe. So like in my classical days, I used to have to learn this piece called Asturias. And I could do it pretty good, except for this one part where I had to go grandiose expression to a micro expression. Has always been a thing I struggle with.
Okay.
And vice versa, minor expression to a grandiose expression. So with the sweep picking pattern, if you're doing something really big and grandiose like this into something super small, and then again grandiose, it's gonna require practice.
Okay, yeah.
Absolutely.
That absolutely makes sense.
I'm a big fan of metronome use, and I'm a big fan of dissecting your skill set. You can't really see it right now, but I've got like 37 cameras facing me on different angles. I suggest people do that. Get your phone, get your webcam out, look at yourself in different angles, grab a mirror, pay attention to stuff. You'll see things that are like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and you might not notice it like in the moment. So being able to like watch back is a very helpful tool.
Yes, and don't be afraid to practice anytime, anywhere, at whatever speed you want. True story, when I was learning to sweep, my wife, we were dating at the time, we were watching TV on the couch, and this wasn't plugged in, I was just there like... Two hours later, she's like, can you practice something else? Like, man. But that's what it takes. Seriously, put that time in.
Right.
And some of the stuff we talk about in the course is slang terms like 3-string, 5-string with a reach back, position shift, finger, pinky switch, roll that off, and stuff like that. It seems silly, but it's easier access to the information in your brain. Oh, I know what a 3-string is.
Totally.
I know what a 5-string is. Meh.
Totally.
Even to this day, I'll go to learn arpeggio parts. I'm a Loomis nut. I love to play Jeff Loomis stuff all day. And I'll go and like I'll read the tabs or I'll chart it or whatever I have to do to learn it, and I'll go, oh man, that looks really crazy on the tab paper or whatever. But then you're like, oh, it's 3 to a 5. There's a reach back, and then a 3 and a 5 and a 3 pinky switch.
Right.
I can do this.
Right.
You got this.
Well, that's very cool. Well, I think that's probably a good place to maybe end the more kind of teaching-y portion.
All right.
So I'd love to jump into questions. So if you guys do have questions, you can send them in. If you don't have any questions, that's fine. We can just we can wrap her up. It's not a big deal. But one of the questions that I had and wanted to talk about was gear.
Gear.
Because I'm a big gear nut, and there are definitely some people who are members who are big gear nuts. So what is your normal signal chain, the normal guitar, pedals if you use any, or effects, and amplifier that you would use?
You guys are gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me on this. I usually run a Schecter 7 Loomis series, EMG Active 707s in it because it's a 7-string, and I go straight from guitar into my amp. I run a Kemper Profiler.
Yep.
I got the rack-mounted powered head. Now in there are some slight EQs and stuff that I've built into the Stomp Box series of it. And I say series because like the way the Kemper is structured is there's 3 areas.
Okay.
The first area is like a stomp box, the second is like your amp and cabinet profiles, and the third is, this is the weird, it's the effects, like the delay and reverb come way after everything.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
It would probably like imply an effects loop.
That's what I'm assuming.
Post. Yeah.
I'm still like scratching the surface of what the Kemper can do. It's pretty ridiculous. Big fan.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's my rhythm channel. I usually run a 5150 profile.
Okay.
It's done by Keith Merrill. It's called the Loomis 5150.
Okay.
Are you sensing a theme here?
And a 5150 is?
The EVH 5150?
The EVH 5150. Yeah. Okay, because I remember PV used to make a 5150 back in the day, right?
Yeah, and I don't know what happened. I don't know what the difference really between the two is, to be honest.
There was some weird licensing thing that happened when they split and stuff.
Gotcha.
But I think they took the model over. Is kind of the idea to the new brand. But the idea is you're using modeling amplification to get that sound. So when you say the 5150 sound, you're using a digital version of that sound.
Yes, it was actually profiled, which look up profiling technology. It's pretty dope what they're doing.
It's insane.
Pretty dope. Keith Merrill's, I'm a big fan of Keith Merrill for his tone stuff. He gets a lot of sick tones. And then my lead channel and my solo channel is just the exact same rhythm channel with a little bit of delay on it.
Okay.
To make it a little more wet, I guess.
Yeah. And you're just switching, do you have like a switcher that switches
Yeah, I use a Voodoo Labs MIDI controller.
Nice.
That's it. It's real bare bones.
Very cool.
Huge fan of just direct to amp, because I didn't want to, again, this is being inspired from my heroes growing up as a guitar player. I wanted to have as least resistance between me and the actual amp itself, so it was more my hands gave the tone than the pedals in front of me, because I didn't want to naturally gravitate towards having pedals and sloppy technique and stuff like that. Trying my best to develop it every day.
It's very cool because you hear about that happening a lot with like blues purists, where they plug straight into their amplifier, but you don't hear it as much from kind of maybe someone in your vein of music. So it's very cool that you're doing the plugging straight into the amplifier. I like it.
It could be that, and I don't know much about pedals.
Yeah. So you are just like me and what we call a cork sniffer.
Ah, excellent. I think.
And maybe do you want to tell us a little bit about this guitar?
Yeah, this is my buddy Steve over at Steve Brand Music Services lent me this for today. I really wanted to inspire my Paul Gilbert-ness and bring it out. So this is Paul Gilbert's signature Ibanez run. Right. I think they literally just call it the PG1, and it's actually signed by Paul Gilbert on the back, which I'm really jacked about. It's making me feel all good about myself. So yeah, I'm rocking this. It's a 6-string done in standard tuning. I typically play 7s in half-step tuning. But for the purposes of this stuff today, I wanted to keep the tuning pretty neutral for everyone.
So quite often, we actually have a few members, because I'm not sure if you're familiar with Don Ross.
Yeah, a good buddy of mine.
Okay, so we recently had him out.
Yeah.
And he was doing a lot of stuff with alternate tunings.
Cool.
And obviously a lot of that's like open chord tunings or alter tunings where like they're partial chords, like in the top and the bottom, two different kind of chords, so you can access like different parts at the same time, because he is a solo guitar player, right?
Yeah.
But E-flat tuning is a much less complicated version. And all you're doing is you're just tuning down a half step.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And what would be the reason for doing that?
Originally it was because my heroes were doing it. That was originally why I started to do it. Now over time I like it. It's different, but it's not too far different.
Yeah.
It didn't, the concern I had at the time learning was that my ear training would be messed up. Because if I'm always playing in alter tunings, I have no idea what the standard notation tuning would be. Reference pitches, I should say. But I really fell in love with it, man. And it just by fluke, all the songs I really dig are in half step, and I didn't even know.
Oh, interesting.
Like a lot of the Racer X tunes I'm super into, Paul Gilbert reference, they're in half step, like Scarified. It's half step, the original recording.
Right.
It's nuts. That's all Nevermore is in half step. A lot of the new Active Defiance stuff, you should check that out. It's in half step as well. It seems to be a cool, like maybe it's a metal thing. I don't know.
It's actually not.
Okay.
Because the guys who were doing it first, Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, both played in E-flat.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah, right.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah.
Little bromance moment. Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah, for every guitar player, I think.
Yeah.
No matter what genre you're into.
Man.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, so it's always interesting to hear about different alter tunings, because I'm somebody who maybe would play just more in standard all the time, and probably just because that's what I'm comfortable with. But I know that there are some members who are kind of exploring some other ones. And it seems like when you do drop that half step, you get a little bit more like beefiness, especially in some of your rhythm parts.
Okay, I can see that. For sure.
And obviously you can go to heavier strings and still have that slackened feel.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, string tension's a thing. Every player's different.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely. And you are playing through what kind of amplifier today?
Today I'm using my Line 6 practice amp, so the Spider series, the 75 watt, Spider 4, I think it's called.
Yeah, which is pretty cool, because I know a lot of people, that's one of their first amps.
Yes.
Is getting a Line 6 Spider. And you can tell, just being a good player, it doesn't really, the amp's not going to matter a ton, because you're getting great tones today. Right?
I'm loving what we're getting going. And it's, for me, when I was inspired to practice, it was for a reason, and the reason never seemed to be that I wanted to tweak my tone. I wanted to get in, and when my band started taking off a bit, it became much more, I have to write a song by a certain time, and I just wanted to plug in, have a basic distortion tone, get an idea recorded, move about my day. And now that I'm teaching full-time as well, I have them in my school as a practice amp series. They're great, they're affordable, you get decent tones off the bat.
Yeah.
Just jump in and start playing. What's the problem with that?
Yeah, no, that's such a good point, such a good point. Okay, well, it doesn't look like we have any questions. So one other thing I was thinking is there anything maybe that you would recommend people listen to if they like this style of music? I know you've plugged a few bands and artists, but maybe one kind of good list?
Oh, man.
Put you on the spot?
Sweep arpeggios are very prominent in Nevermore. Nevermore is what inspired me to pick up on the sweeping, so I'd encourage everyone to start listening to that stuff. Pretty much every album they've put out is really good for guitar work. Check out the Year of the Voyager DVD, that's fantastic. That's when Jeff Loomis and my friend Chris Broderick are in the band at the same time, and they're just doing guitar war stuff back and forth.
Oh, nice.
So as a guitar player, you're just like, my goodness, look at this. That's a lot of fun. I really like the album Obsidian Conspiracy. Sweep arpeggio stuff, Nevermore is where I go. Jeff Loomis, his solo records.
Okay.
Jeff Loomis, and Jeff Loomis. Jason Becker. The album Perpetual Burn is a staple for every shred metal guitar player.
Right.
It's a staple. It's a masterpiece way before we knew what a masterpiece was.
Well, those are good recommendations. That's
Yeah, Jason Becker.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Okay, well, guys, I think that's going to just about do it. DJ, thank you so much for coming, and maybe you can tell everyone where they can find you. Absolutely.
You can check us out at templemusicacademy.com, or you can find my band, Without Mercy, at withoutmercyband.com. We're internet people, so we're everywhere. Come check us out. Come say hey. See us on tour. Come say hey. I'll tell you all the stories about this guy.
What story?
I don't know what that means. There's a banjo. There's a banjo somewhere. And Kyle. Kyle's not on camera, but Kyle's my bro.
Back there.
Yeah. We're all talking about God of War right now. Kyle's my bro.
Talking about video games, yeah.
Kyle's my bro.
Yeah, and for those of you guys, again, who are members, look forward to the series that we will be putting out with DJ, Sweep Picking 101. It goes into this stuff just on a deeper level, where we take our time a little bit more. We go through, I think it's like 13 videos, so we go quite in depth.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. Seriously, follow these guys. They're doing good things, man. This is really cool. Aside from, like, you can't see it, the setup is dope. It's really cool in here, man.
Cool.
You guys are onto something, for sure.
I appreciate you saying that, man.
Woo!
All right. Well, maybe do you want to play us out on a little tune?
Let's do it. Sweet Home Alabama.
Not quite. This jam track is actually one, again, for those of you guys who are members, if you want to learn to play along to this jam track, it's called Cyborg. It's in the members area, and it's basically a Megadeth-style jam track.
Cool.
All right.
Cool.
Take it away.